old were you when you got your first gun, Atticus?
13 or 14. I remember when my daddy gave me that gun. He told me that I should never point at anything in the house, and that he'd rather I'd shoot at tin cans in the backyard. But he said that sooner or later he supposed the temptation to go after birds would be too much, and that I could shoot all of the blue jays I wanted, if I could hit them. But to remember, it was a sin to kill a mockingbird.
Why?
Well, I reckon because mockingbirds don't do anything but make music for us to enjoy.
Hello, everyone. It is March 26, 2020. My name is LaShaunta Emuobonuvie, and this is my critical comment presentation for the movie To Kill a Mockingbird, directed by Robert Mulligan in the year 1962. Thank you all for giving me your attention for a few minutes. I will try to be as brief as possible, but I am long-winded by nature, and adding to that, this movie touches a very sensitive topic for me. Imagine being in a world where everyone is against you. No matter how much someone tries to advocate for your case, even with plausible evidence, the majority vote wins, not because of who you are inside, but because of your physical appearance, something that you cannot change, nor can you hide it. This is the case of Tom Robinson. This film adaptation of the award-winning book To Kill a Mockingbird tells a story of the Finches during the dates of 1933 through 1935 from Macomb, Alabama, and is told in first-person perspective by Jean Louise Finch, better known as Scout. As an adult, she accounts for the events of a 6-year-old Scout. Through the course of various noteworthy events in Scout's life at that time, one of the many focuses lies upon her courageous father, Atticus Finch. Atticus is a Caucasian American lawyer who bravely went forth to defend Tom Robinson, an African American man that is being accused of physically and sexually abusing a young Caucasian American by the name of Mayella Eel. The entirety of the movie charts Atticus not only defending Tom in court, but even going to the courthouse where Tom was being held between trial dates, spending the night outside in a chair to ensure Tom's safety. Why? Because he knew that Tom was innocent. All of the evidence proved so. However, during the 1930s, in the South, a black man could very rarely be proven innocent, especially with an all-white jury of males. But Atticus was optimistic that he would win this case because of many factors that held up against Mayella and her father's testimonies. The mise-en-scene in this movie, the lighting, the depth of space, the strategically placed props, as well as the continuity of each scene, are not the only factors that draw together a proper storyline. When adding the character responses to the sequence of events, it creates an even stronger view of the plot. The verisimilitudinous details and the expressions in this film draw out significant emotions of sadness, anger, anxiousness, disgust, and the element of surprise. Let's use the testimony that Mayella gives in court against Tom Robinson concerning the bruises that she had on the right side of her face. In order to obtain an injury to the right side of her face, she must have been assaulted by someone who was left-handed, and Tom was not left-handed. How do we know this?
Tom, will you catch this, please? Thank you. Now then, this time, will you please catch it with your left hand?
I can't, sir.
Why can't you?
I can't use my left hand at all. I got it caught in a cotton gin when I was 12 years old. All my muscles were tore loose.
Prior to this event, Mr. Finch called to the stand Robert Mayela's father.
Now, Mr. Ewell, can you read and write?
Yes, Mr. Finch, I can read and I can write.
Good. Then will you write your name, please, right there. Show us.
What's the matter?
You're left-handed, Mr. Ewell.
What's that got to do with it?
Even with all the proof that Tom is innocent and using common sense, which is expressed in this next clip.
She did something that in our society is unspeakable. She kissed a black man, not an old uncle, but a strong, young Negro man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it came crashing down on her afterwards. The witnesses for the state, with the exception of the sheriff of Macon County, have presented themselves to you gentlemen, to this court, in the cynical confidence that their testimony would not be doubted. Confident that you gentlemen would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, all Negroes are basically immoral beings, all Negro men are not to be trusted around our women. An assumption that one associates with minds of their caliber, and which is in itself, gentlemen, a lie, which I do not need to point out to you. And so, a quiet, humble, respectable Negro who has had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman has had to put his word against two white peoples. The defendant is not guilty, but somebody in this courtroom is. Now, gentlemen, in this country, our courts are the great levelers. In our courts, all men are created equal.
Yes. Even with this statement, Thomas is still sentenced to death, where another unfortunate event follows within less than 2 days of his stay in prison. I enjoyed this classic just as much as I did when I was younger, but my understanding has changed due to my experiences as an adult, especially being naturally born and raised in the South in a racist environment, causing me to be discriminated against. Another contribution are my researches of human rights, civil rights, the justification system, and Black history over the years. To Kill a Mockingbird marks a time of notable history in America in general, where no matter where your heart was placed, you were still deemed guilty because of pigmentation, a time where privilege for others was prominent and obvious, but was not addressed. We have certainly come a long way. Though many may have contrary thoughts, the truth is we are not where we were thanks to people like Atticus who stood up for what they believe in and advocated for the unpopular.